Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a look at r/OhNoConsequences. Yes, I know, twice in 1 week, but what can I say? I quite like it here. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to today, then please do stick around and enjoy. It is that time again when the kids are off school and I am up close and personal with the microphone, so sorry about that. So this first post was shared into the subreddit by Sebastian Lim. Okay, just bear in mind, not the original poster. A lot of these won't be the original poster. They'll be the person who kind of forwarded it on to OhNoConsequences. Think best of Redditor update style for anyone who's never been to this subreddit before. So they titled it, "I mocked my brother for not having a job after he dropped out of high school to take care of my baby who I abandoned. Why did he tell her the truth?" Oh, God. So, of course, this was first posted in Am I the Butthole? Am I the butthole for telling my niece her mother tried to give her away as a baby? I, 29M, got into a huge argument with my sister, 31F, last week. The argument had been simmering for a long time, as tensions between us has been high for years. When I was 17, my sister had an accidental pregnancy, and when she told her boyfriend, he left her. Due to our religious family, she kept the baby, but once her daughter was born, she panicked. She didn't want to go through the legal troubles of adoption, so she asked that me and our mother take care of her kid. There was no legal custody, but it was an agreement made within the family. That's a lot to drop on a 17-year-old, really, isn't it? I essentially raised my niece from birth until she was 3, with help from my mother as she was working to support the new addition to the family. I dropped out of school and took care of her, fed her, changed her, and taught her how to walk while my mum was away at work. Then my sister met her now husband, cleaned her life up, and suddenly wanted her kid back. No warning. She moves back to home, says thanks, and starts being a mother. Yikes. My niece is now 11 and doesn't remember all I and her grandmother did. It's been a family agreement to forget this all happened until the argument. See, I understand giving family time to, get their act together and come and do the right thing. If that was where the story was left and they were like, yeah, the sister came back, picked up the kid, said thank you and sorted their life out and was a really good mum, that'd be great. However, I don't think that's where this is going. Call it intuition. My sister made a petty comment during a fight where she implied since I lost my job recently, I can't handle responsibility. Wow, holy hypocrisy, Batman. Goodness. I snapped and told her that she was lucky her daughter was too young to remember how she abandoned her. My niece overheard this and now wants to know what I meant. I outright said that her mother didn't think that she could raise her and left her with me and my grandma. Now my sister says I traumatized her daughter and my mum says I should have kept the secret like we agreed. I think the secret couldn't stay kept forever. Am I the butthole? Yeah, I mean, things have a habit of coming out, don't they? Whether you want them to or not. So the sister having this idea that it was going to stay buried forever and it would never come out, there would always be a point in time where someone slips up, be it accidentally or on purpose, like in this situation. So realistically, it is something that the sister should have talked to her daughter about at some point. How old is the daughter at this point that we're talking about now? Met her now husband, cleaned up her life, she wants her back. My niece is now 11. Okay, 11. Yeah, I mean, that is a bit young to be dropping that on her without it coming from her mum's mouth. So perhaps a little bit of a butthole for the fact that you did it in earshot of the kid, who is 11. However, I also understand the frustration completely for the sister to be taking this moral high ground and looking down on you because you lost your job and saying that you don't know responsibility after she did that, Edit. Hello, I'm here to give some more context and answer a bunch of the most common questions. When the argument happened, I had put my niece to bed hours ago. We were at my mother's house, so no one knew she was going to come in. Secondly, after my niece was born, my sister moved states to get a job. Also, she was 20 and I was 17. Again, I think little bit of the butthole for shouting something like that when the kid is even in the house, because it really should have been left to the sister. But also, I completely understand the frustration and understand why it came out. And it would not have stayed buried forever, no matter how much the sister wanted it to. So yeah, that is my verdict. Anyway, we have some more to read. And finally, in the aftermath, I said we can't go back now since my niece already overheard us all talking. So, as a group with a stepfather, we should get together to explain it better. Yes, definitely, definitely. But since the event a week ago, my sister has been saying that we should blow over it and that my niece will forget it if we don't bring it up again. No, that's not going to happen at all. I'm frustrated at this and at how she's now slating me alongside my mother. My mother believes I'm in the wrong for arguing with my sister in the first place, whereas I say that she has no right to criticise me for losing my job when I lost my education to caring for her child. Very true. I'm trying to get in contact with my niece's stepfather to ask him for his opinion. I mean, realistically, this is something for you guys to sort out. Stepfather kind of needs to take a back seat because this all went on before he was even a thing, you know? But also, I kind of get wanting to be like, hey, do you not think your wife's being an idiot here? Trying to brush this under the rug? Now the cat's out the bag? Edit 2. Yes, I was asked by my mum to drop out of school and I did so. That's another point, realistically. Looking at this from a lens of being outside of this family dynamic, the mum's a bit of a knobhead too, expecting her 17-year-old to do that because her 20-year-old daughter didn't want to own up to her responsibilities. No, don't like that either. And now the mum's going, oh, you shouldn't be arguing with your sister. I'm sorry, my love. Can you not see why there might be some resentment from your youngest child here? There feels like a bit of favouritism going on here. I didn't go to college later. I had no intention of hurting my niece, but she had already overheard what was said, so I felt that keeping it from her now would just cause her confusion. I'm now trying to backpedal the best I can with the family's assistance to be able to properly explain the situation to her. Good luck. But my sister and my mother both want to just pretend this never happened and hope my niece forgets as she grows up. Edit 3. I'm starting to wish I was clearer from the beginning. I said I was 17 when my sister had the accidental pregnancy. I meant that I was 17 when the baby was born. Okay, potato, potato, really. It really doesn't matter. You were far too young to be lumped with that responsibility, no matter if you were 17 or 18, you know, especially for a kid that is not yours. So, down in the comments, Inugo says 0 chance an 11-year-old is going to forget about this. Angry Young Woman 123 says, yeah, and it's pretty unfair to keep her in the dark after what she overheard. And then Deranged Kitsune says, shitty mum has continued to be shitty. No real surprise there. Honestly, I feel like the OP's mum has been letting the older sister get away with a lot of stuff for a long time, and she probably just thinks that, you know, she can sweep things under the rug and other people will deal with it for her. Top and Tailor's OP did a thing that made them a weeny bit of a butthole, perhaps, maybe, but not on purpose. Other two, gaping buttholes. Next post, posted by Starlight Sweetheart. Dad trying to pretend everything is normal to sick son he abandoned. So, posted in Am I the Borthole? Am I the Borthole for making my dad cry on purpose? I, 20M, recently got diagnosed with leukemia and it's bad. I'm always tired and in pain now and I'm completely bald from chemo. My parents got divorced when I was 5 and Dad remarried when I was 7. His new wife basically told him that it's either me or her and he chose her. What a twat. I'd still see him here and there, but I never slept at his house. He'd always told me that he loved me though. Ha, yeah, great way of showing it. I love you. Just nowhere near as much as this wicked stepmother of yours. Which was straight up bullshit. Because if he did, he'd have fought his wife for me. If he did, he'd have left his wife for you. If I got with a bloke and he tried to tell me that I couldn't see my kids anymore, he'd be gone. He wouldn't even be a thought in the back of my mind anymore. Like, Vamoosh, see you later. Wouldn't even be thinking of him ever again. I was always very close to his side of the family since Mum was from a different country and her entire family lived in that same country, even my grandparents who are both dead now. My grandparents would always show me photos of the stuff Dad would do with his new family and kids and all the vacations he'd take them on, and it always hurt me. I hated him for years. Once I was diagnosed, it broke something in him, and he finally put his foot down and decided to actually be a dad to me. He became super dad. He'd always be by my side and wouldn't leave me alone. He even brought me to his house and introduced me to his kids, despite his wife's wishes. He says he wants to make it up to me, and that he's always loved me, and that he wants to make sure I know that. It's gotten so much, though. My younger self would have loved this, but I hate it. He could have always done it and always could have been a good dad to me, but never thought I was worth it until I was literally dying. I hate him. I told him so last night after he went on about how much he loves me and everything. I just had enough and told him to stop the bullshit. I said he'd never loved me enough to step up to his wife until I was dying. I told him his new kids were clearly his priority, and he's only with me now because if I die, the guilt of being a shit dad to me my whole life would eat him alive. He was crying by that point and begging me to stop, but I didn't. I told him how much I hated him when I was with my grandparents and when they'd tell me about all his vacations and activities with his real children. I hated all of them, and his wife and children, because he saw them as more worthy of him than me my entire life. When I finished ranting, he was full on sobbing, and his wife ended up kicking me out and calling me a bad. I mean, she could quite happily fall off the end of the earth for all I care, to be quite fair. She sounds like an absolutely vile, insecure little weirdo. My mum and stepdad say that I went too hard on him and that he's really struggling with everything. Good. Cry me a river. But I don't regret it because I let out things that I've been holding in for years and it felt damn good. Was that an asshole move though? No, not at all. He absolutely deserved every bit of that. And you know what? I fully believe that the OP absolutely deserved to let out all of that because that has been eating the OP alive for years. And I imagine finally letting go and just saying all of the things and letting it out and really passing on that hurt essentially to the person who caused it in the first place is so freeing, and I hope that it will help them in their recovery. I feel like it must have been so cathartic for them to get that out. Mysterious Share 7700 says, he's struggling with everything. Go easy on him. OOP is dying. His mum and stepdad can go easy on the dad if they want. OOP shouldn't have to hold himself back. He had to say, and they what? Want him to take it to his grave to protect that deadbeat's feelings? Nah, dude. OOP was right to put it out in the open. And considering that he's the one actively dying, his feelings are more important than the deadbeat who's crying over the fact that he's a deadbeat. And then Shoddy Budget 1533 says, I can't believe people think that OOP doesn't have the right to get everything off his chest. Honestly, crazy work. I really hope though that the OP can beat it and get better. Really hope so. Next post, reposted by Queer Anon Thinker. That was really hard to read because there was no spaces. I have a pea brain all right today, leave me alone. So the title says, I told my son to leave my house, but I didn't actually mean to. Why did he take me seriously? Am I the butthole for kicking my stepson out for coming home late? Me, 40M, and my wife, 39F, got married a month ago. I have a daughter, 16F, and she has a son, 16M. Also, my wife's ex died in a sad accident in 2015. We met online. She was living in another city not far away. We started visiting each other and eventually got married. She moved into my house with her son. Her son is an amateur photographer and graphic designer. At 16? God, doing well. He has worked for a couple of small magazines and micro-influencers. I don't know how much, but he makes money from that. He's never taken any money from me. I've never seen him take anything from my wife either. At first, he was good with me and my daughter. We only argued twice, and the second time, I somehow ended up kicking him out of the house. How do you somehow end up kicking someone out of the house? What that tells me, my love, is that you have no control over your emotional responses, which is concerning, to say the least, considering you are a parent. I can't tell you the first one because it was over 3,000 characters. I'm assuming they mean like can't type it out. I don't know. It's just my daughter said something about the troubled guys he hangs out with. I warned him, he didn't argue, but he was very irritated. After that day, he continued to be nice to me and my daughter, but it was very fake. Why do I get the feeling the OP is holding back some context here to make themselves sound a little better? Last week he had a photo shooting job and came home late. I told him that my house has an in and out rule and he shouldn't be so late. He was at work. He calmly told me that he didn't come home because he was working. I said to him, I understand, but there are rules in this house. Oh, yep, definitely one of those that just likes to flounce their authority around to polish their ego. He said, your house, your rules, but I don't think I can follow them when I'm working, sorry. That made me mad, and I said, maybe I need to think about some things. He responded, like what? Call me dumb for being provoked by a kid, but I got really pissed off and said, like kick you out. His mum tried to calm him down. It didn't work. He said, think about it. I'm waiting. I don't want to tell the whole conversation because it probably makes you look awful, but in the final I told him, then get out of my house. He asked to my wife, do you have anything to say about this? When she said, let's sit down and talk in peace, he went to his room and locked the door. Like, honestly, this dude is obviously just someone who hates the thought that anyone might be doing something he doesn't say they can, and then when obviously the teenager quite rightly said, I was working, and called him out on his idiocy, he then loses his marbles and does something ridiculous. Wow. 2 hours later, he packed all his things, called a taxi, and left the house. When I asked him to stop, he said, think twice before you speak. Seriously, getting schooled by a 16-year-old when you are a, 40-year-old man, was it? Yeah, 40-year-old man. Embarrassing. The next day, in the evening, he called my wife. He was back in his home city, staying with a friend for a while and then renting a house. He's a minor. I don't know how he's going to rent a house, but he's already not supposed to get on a plane or a bus by himself. I really don't know how he got back. Cut is really like one of those annoying kids in sitcoms. Yikes. Wife had told me before that he was very stubborn, just like his father, but I didn't expect this much. Things have been going downhill with my wife. I don't know what to do. Am I the butthole? Yes, obviously. You basically have the emotional regulation of a toddler, and a 16-year-old is far more calm and collected than you could be, and obviously has their poo together. And yeah, you've messed up, basically, and also left a lot of stuff out, which I would love to know, because I highly doubt that that kid would have just up and left without there being a good reason. You know, I wouldn't have imagined that one argument would cause this kid to up and leave, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. Words are hard. Edit. I have to say, I really didn't mean to kick him out. What? It's cracking me up the way that the OP is literally making out like this was a big accident. You said the words. What do you mean? I just didn't think he was really going to leave. I also wanted to have a nice conversation, but he escalated the argument so quickly. No. Apparently I didn't save any comments for this one, so we can't see what anyone else was saying. Now, I have a little bit of a thing of like, could this be a realistic story just because of the fact that they say, oh, they're going to rent a house? But, you know, they could be paying a friend to live with them if they have friends that are a couple years older, I suppose. But yeah, I would love to know what it is that this OP is hiding that's worse than what they've told us, because there is something. I can just tell. I can feel it in me waters. Okay, so I'm sat here now and going through this again, editing it, obviously listening to it. And the more I listen to it, I'm like, is this actually a truthful story, or is it, made up? Or is it just that the person is horrific at writing and is also making stuff up just to make themselves not sound like the bad guy, but also then just sounding like the bad guy? I don't know. So, yeah, you'll have to decide on that one, really, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I've seen some really poorly written ones that actually turn out to be, yeah, completely true. No one's fabricated it. It's just they write really badly. So I don't know. You'll have to be the judge on that one. I'm just listening to it back and I'm thinking, something's off here. Next post was shared by this username on the screen, which I'm not going to try to repeat because it's just a load of letters. Am I the butthole for not telling a friend's boyfriend that he can't have a traditional wife because he's not a traditional man? Oh, I love these so much. I, 25F, was hanging out with some friends and their significant others last week. To make a long story short, my friend's boyfriend kept talking about how women no longer want to be traditional wives. I wonder why. And that's why many of them are single. Yes, by choice. I responded that in 2025, women don't feel like they need a man in order to provide the lives that they want for themselves. Heaven forbid, clutching my pearls and all sorts. He kept going on about what women used to do and how they were all about taking care of their husbands and households without complaining. Yes, and then a lot of them were taking extracurricular pharmaceuticals just to make it through the day and their misery. So, yeah, no wonder a lot of us have moved away from that kind of lifestyle. 50-50 is where it's at, baby. I let it go on for a while, but I got tired of hearing his rant and told him that he can't have a traditional wife when my friend goes 50-50 on all the bills with him. Wow, and works more hours than he does. I continued with he isn't a traditional husband and can't provide for his household like he's supposed to, so that my friend can stay home and do those traditional duties. I may have become the asshole when I told him that it sounds like he wants another mummy and not a wife. It became silent, and he told me that my way of thinking proved his point. Oh, I do love stories like this one. They do crack me up because it's when it's the hypocrisy as well. Like if he was sat there like, yeah, I'm gonna literally pay for everything and you can be the traditional wife. Fair enough, because that is literally the traditional husband, traditional wife. But when he's expecting 50-50 and then he's moaning that no one wants to be a traditional wife, like my friend, if you want that, you have to play your part. The conversation pivoted elsewhere and I thought that was it, but I got a message from my friend saying that her boyfriend was upset at me for what I said and I embarrassed him. Boo-hoo. He wants me to apologise, but I don't think that I should have to, being as though I was responding to his rant about traditional women. My friend said she doesn't think I'm wrong, but she doesn't think I'm right either, and I should have just let him talk, because he had had a few drinks. Am I the butthole? No, and your friend really needs to consider whether this dude is a good dude to be with. Yikes. Update. I called my friend to try and understand why her boyfriend was embarrassed and why she was trying to be Switzerland in the situation. She explained that I'm her friend, and although she doesn't disagree with what I said, she feels like she needs to have her man's back as well. Nope, disagree. Fully disagree. I think when we're in a relationship, friendship, family, anything, if someone is spouting stuff that we disagree with, it is fine to disagree with them. You don't have to blindly have someone's back just because you share a bed with them. The only way we grow as people when we have a toxic mindset on something, or when we have a more negative mindset, whatever, or a very stiff mindset, should I say. I think that's the better word. If we have a very stiff mindset of what we think something should be, and we don't feel like, ever looking at someone else's perspective, I think it's very good to have people that will gently say to you, I think it's good to have people who you are close to that will gently bring you back to reality and go, there are other options, and that is fine. Or there's other ways to look at this, and that is fine. Because otherwise, you're gonna get someone like OP who will not do it gently, and, well, tough titties. I told her that she doesn't have my back by asking me to apologise to him and not standing up for me, or at the very least telling him that what he was saying was idiotic. We talked for about an hour and I actually feel like it didn't get anywhere. I told her that I would not apologise and that he can't come around me anymore, and she was very upset with that statement. I feel like I lost a close friend, and that hurts a lot, but I will not be disrespected. Sorry this isn't some juicy stuff, but I wanted to update everyone on how the situation ended. I honestly feel like that friend is going to come running back at some point like, I am so sorry, it turns out that he was an absolute bellend. And I'm miserable because he's basically having me do everything a 50-50 partner would, but also do everything for him. No. No. So, down in the comments, Professor Distinct 835 says, not the butthole, the audacity of going on and on about trad wives and splitting things 50-50 with his girlfriend. LOL. And then Hollowed Hallowed says, it's so weird that these guys somehow always forget that women have jobs. I've never met an unemployed adult woman. Society has moved on, dude. There's no way to hack it on a single income anymore, which is why trad wives are just TikToks, not actual women. And yeah, let's be honest, these trad wives on TikTok and social media, they're not traditional at all, are they? Because they're earning. They're working, they're bringing in an income, they're being seen by the outside world, they're having a voice of their own towards other people, they're influencing people. That is not something a traditional wife does. I've done air quotes, by the way, so many times during this one bit of story, and none of you can see it, so I don't know why I keep doing it. So Substantial Break 3063 says, I saw someone describe that trad wife content as full-time work producing non-nude content. I've never really thought of them the same way again. LOL. Literally, that is what it is. It's it appeals to, I would say, a lot of right-wing Christian talking points. And obviously alpha males, podcast bros, all of that lot. Anyone else just looks at it and goes, what the f? And moves on with their day and sees the hypocrisy in the way that they're spouting a trad wife life while not leading a trad wife life, but pretending to. It's like acting. Anyway, I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. My thoughts might be a bit scrambly in this one. It is 11:45 at night. So yeah, if you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give it a little like, subscribe, notifications on, maybe even a little comment sprinkled in for the algorithm and things. We've got to please it now and then. We have to give it offerings in the form of comments. Then that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.